Hi, Grandpa.
Hi, sonny boy. I didn't mean to wake you up. I just came in to give you a good big hug and a kiss before I went to bed.
Did you scare him?
You bet your life I scared him. Mercy. Now you just go to sleep.
Mr. Chaney, conference call.
Oh, yeah, I'll be right there. You sleep good.
Lon?
Oh, hiya, Boris.
Peter.
Well, hello, Pete.
Well, now, Peter, I've read your prospectus. I regret to say, old friend, speaking entirely for myself, of course, I find it rather wanting, if not indeed psychologically unsound in today's market.
But people don't change, Boris. What frightened them then, in the dark ages, it still frightens them now. Fear is born into people. Witch doctors, voodoo priests, zombies, ghosts, ghouls, vampires, monsters. And don't you sell them short, Boris.
Rattles and drums. Old hat, my dear fellow, old hat. Look, I'm told that business is so bad that the witch doctors in Africa are asking for relief parcels. I see a schism as wide as this can't be bridged by telephone. We'll have to meet and come to a final and unanimous decision.
But, Boris, you know I can't stand London at this time of the year.
What's the matter, Peter? Too much fog to swirl a cape in?
Ha, ha.
Very well. I'll fly to New York.
No. Why don't you come here to Hollywood?
See, I have an idea. Why not meet halfway? I know a place outside of Chicago, near to the airport.
Chicago? Splendid. By all means, make the reservations at once. Oh, but Peter, I suggest that you sign us in as a committee, a society in aid of the prevention of something or other. I'm sure Mrs. Baxter would advise us to do exactly that.
Oh, don't you think we ought to have her there, too?
Why, of course. Without her legal and financial counsel, the whole project might get off on the wrong foot. Oh, and Peter, in the interest of anonymity, I think we should use our given names as surnames and reverse the spelling. You see what I mean? In that way, I be Mr. Searob.
And I shall be Mr. Retief.
And that'd make me Mr. Null.
Well, shall we see tomorrow afternoon in Chicago?
Splendid. Oh, Peter, what's the name of the place?
The O'Hare Inn.
Number between 18 and 25.
Oh, no. I've lost that game before. Anyway, what makes you think it's a convention group?
When two or more girls get together and there's no guy in the group, it's just got to be a convention.
Buzz, there are things carved in marble with not 1/10 the content of that last authoritative remark. I suppose it is a convention group. What makes you think we'll be assigned?
You heard Mr. Pavis.
It was a maybe, not a yes.
Look, The man said that if we turn out to be half as personable in the flesh as we did on the phone, we're hired. Junior executives in charge of convention liaison, kitchen expediters, banquet troubleshooters. And would you like 6 more chairs, madame? Oh. Heads. I wonder what your first group's gonna be like.
Impossible.
Mr. Retief, we've been expecting you, sir.
I think I better sign the rest of my part in, too.
Of course, Mr. Retief. Mr. Retief, has anyone ever told you there's a striking resemblance between you and, you'll excuse me, sir, Peter Lorre?
That's pretty insulting, isn't it?
Front, please. Mr. Retief, 306.
What have you reserved for our meetings?
Parlor 9, sir. An excellent view of the pool. And Mr. Todd Stiles has been assigned as your group liaison. Anything you want, contact Mr. Stiles. We hope you enjoy your stay here, sir.
So, that's it, gentlemen. Now, any questions, Mr. Murdoch?
Do you happen to know what a gerenuk is, Mr. Pavis?
A what?
G-E-R-E-N-U-K, gerenuk.
Funny you ask it. I swear I've seen that word someplace. Yes, and just today.
On the Special Events Board, my first assignment, the Society for the Preservation of Gerenuks. You know, I've been thinking perhaps Mr. Murdoch here might do better with a group like that. He has such a flair for the Baroque, and I could struggle along with his group.
I'd be more than happy to exchange with you, but you see, I'm right in the middle of setting up the guidelines with that group. As you were saying, Mr. Pavis, we want a real push-button operation here, and this group of young ladies, fine group, executive secretaries of the Midwest, all work for very influential bosses, potential and future business for the hotel. Now, you see, this group of young ladies and I have set up a very smooth working relationship. What was the word that you used?
Rapport.
That's it. Rapport. I'm very large in the rapport department. Well, I've got to be going. Lila and Beth, that's Miss Bain and Miss Tremors, the president and her deputy, want me to sit in on a pre-planning session. That's before they call the group to order this afternoon.
Lila, check him off your list. He's a prisoner of love.
What on earth makes you think I'm interested in him?
Well, he does wear trousers now, doesn't he? Even if they're a little wet around the cuffs.
Mr. Murdoch. Whoops. You're just in time. Oh, I couldn't seem to make this thing work.
Oh. Test. Testing, 1, 2. Well, I guess it just needed a little time to warm up.
Everything should, you'd think.
I brought this list for you to check. I've already ordered it, but just to make sure.
Absolutely. Beth, why don't you go see about lunch?
Maybe I could go check on Christmas dinner. Maybe we both could go check on Christmas dinner.
Mr. Murdoch, it is my understanding that you've been assigned to help us conduct the arrangements for a business meeting. Our girls are here to work and to learn, to profit from an exchange of ideas with each other, to advance the status and dignity of the profession executive secretary, and to return to their desks better than when they left.
Better men, that is.
That is our platform. We have no plank in it for propinquity. Is that clear?
Oh, yes, everything but that last word, propinquity?
Propinquity. Her name is Molly. Molly Cross. Beautiful and dumb and a little sad. She needs comforting right now, Mr. Murdoch, but leave her alone. Forget it. Even before you start. You see, she's the marrying kind. Aren't we all?
Beth, honestly.
Oh, yes. That is enough honesty for one day. Shall we fix the microphone, or shall we just sit here and admire him openly?
Comforting from what? What has she said about?
It is the longest short story you ever heard.
Beth, we are here to work. I'm assuming you are too?
Mr. Ratip? I'm Stiles from the inn. Your expediter?
Well, I like expediters. Come right in. Well, our needs are really quite simple. All I need is a large table, 4 chairs, oh yes, and a very good lock on the inside of the door, because you see, the work of our society is quite secretive.
And the preservation of Garanooks?
You know about Garanooks?
Well, frankly, Mr. Ratip, nobody around here knows what a Garanook is or does, including me. I'm a Yale man.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, it isn't in the dictionary.
Don't you speak Somali?
I had trouble with the adverbs.
The explanation is quite simple. Garanook comes from a Somali expression, garamuk, and it means an antelope, a small gazelle in the eastern part of Africa, Lithocranius walleri. It's such a beautiful animal with soulful eyes, but it's in grave danger of becoming extinct. And if that should happen, there are black days ahead for humanity. You see, the slogan of our society is, if it can happen to the Garanook, it can happen to you. Oh, one little thing I forgot to ask to get for us is, and I want it placed dead center on the table before our meeting tonight. With silver handles, if you can get them on such a short notice. A nice coffin, velvet lined.
A coffin?
Well, it's the symbol of our society. It symbolizes extinction. Today, the Garanook, tomorrow, man.
Hey, Big Daddy, where you want the coffin? You a wise guy or something. The man asked for silver handles. Silver handles we ain't got. This year it's brushed copper. Take it or leave it. What man? Styles, convention department. We don't get calls for silver handles anymore.
A dead ringer for Peter Lorre. Convention liaison, Styles. Well, tell him I'll be right there. Now, I've told you all about my little group. What's the scam on your little group?
What's to tell?
Oh, nothing very much. Just how long are they going to be here? What can we do to provide them with recreational facilities? And who are the likeliest candidates?
Candidates? For what?
A continuation of your present attitude, old buddy of mine, could lead to all sorts of serious repercussions. You are acquainted, I presume, with the Antitrust Division of the Department of Justice? Aware, I hope, of the strong forces in readiness available to attack monopoly in any form? Think it over. Do we divide the territory, or do I call in the feds? Tell them I'm on the way. Tell them to put it in parlor 9.
Convention liaison. Doc speaking. Right here. Right here. No, she's not here.
Hi. I'm Molly.
Yeah, I saw you at the pool. Remember?
Remember. An executive as important as you'd think they'd give you a better office. Don't you have a secretary?
Don't let the jacket and the tie fool you, Molly. You're just a leg man.
Aren't most men?
Sometime next week, I'll think of a crazy answer.
You have a nice smile. Like you just took a drink out of Ponce de Leon's fountain. Only he never found it. I think that's one of the saddest things ever. Are you married? Do you need a secretary?
Well, it's like I told you, Molly. I mean, the phone rings and I answer somebody, yeah, and I run.
Well, this happens to me every 3 years. About this time of year. To clean out my desk and move on. Does the music bother you?
That lost chord they keep looking for, you know, it's not lost. I got it. Right there.
I carry this radio with me because it keeps me from crying. I guess I should just sort of sit and cry, but I hate to because I'm really not unhappy. Just very, very sad. You see, I just quit my job just before the convention. I didn't want to come. I was the only unemployed executive secretary in the whole club. But Marta and Nadine, they're from Indianapolis, too, just like me. They said, Molly, we won't hear of it. It'll take your mind off your troubles. So here I am. She sent me down here with this menu for lunch tomorrow. She said just meeting you and talking to you would cheer me up. And it has. Thank you very much. Beth is a dear. What do you think of Lila?
Well, she'd make a fine drill sergeant in the Marine Corps.
She's really very nice. But she's sad, too. Everybody's sad. It's the saddest thing of all. Except you. You don't seem sad. We'll talk again some other time. Bye.
Oh, Molly, there's a long-distance call from you. You can take it here, this phone, huh?
I don't want to talk to him again. Never.
Right here, fellas, dead center. Good.
Yes, sir. This sure looks like the place for the fun crowd.
Let me give you a slogan to live by, my friend. If it can happen to the Garanook, it can happen to you. That's all, gentlemen. Thanks very much. No silver handles. You'll probably moan about that. But at least it's velvet lined.
Who ordered this?
Mr. Ratip.
I might have known. Time is precious. Why isn't he here? I've come all the way from London, Mrs. Baxter from Zurich. It can't be too difficult to fly in from the West Coast.
But Boris, baby, calm down.
Well, this, Peter, really I'm surprised at you. What a corny piece of theatricality. I thought we agreed to keep our meeting secret.
But it is secret. They see us and they don't dare to believe to see us. Like a fairy tale, like the Emperor's clothes. What do you think, Mrs. Baxter?
A coffin? Ridiculous.
I like it.
It's the sort of thing that starts talk. Boris is quite right. And millions involved in these negotiations, and Mr. Chaney can't even bother to be here on time. It's shameful.
Now, look here. We'll start the meeting without him. Now, Peter, I am determined not to produce a slate of pictures made in the old way. If we indeed are to form a company and accept the network's offer to produce and star in the most terrifying stories ever seen on television, we must strike out in new directions, a modern sort of horror, as it were. We can't rely on hair on our faces, nodules on our foreheads, or any of the old bag of tricks. Now, we're going to stay here and hammer this issue out until we're all agreed. Is that clear?
Oh, well, let's see. I don't know.
Nice?
Oh, there you are. Well, gentlemen, as we are now all present, I will try to explain the whole matter to you. The only way to operate is by forming a Liechtenstein corporation, with banking done through a Swiss bank.
Oh, stop this nonsense, Lon, so we can go to work.
They spoiled it.
Now, come on, Lon. Come on. Don't be disappointed. Boris is sated, you know that. And Mrs. Baxter, she's only horrified by fluctuating exchange rates.
I'll bet you 1,000 Portuguese escudos you don't know half the troubles this corporation is in for if we don't get down to business now.
Well, our only business can be to create new monsters. And I don't mean space creeps, down-to-earth monsters where people can identify themselves with them. That is going to be our series, and that is going to guarantee our ratings.
What was that?
What?
Are you sure you locked the door, Peter?
I got an extra lock.
Next time, I'll attend to the details myself.
How's the Geranook crowd?
When you're fighting for survival like the Geranook, anything goes, wouldn't you say?
Look, I'm preparing a cocktail party. I have very little time, so...
Buzz, this is your last chance, old buddy. Are you cutting me in or out?
Now, do you think I'd ace my only friend? Try to see it for what it is. These girls have adopted me. They trust me. They look up to me as if I was the great white hunter leading them through a gigantic forest of wolves. They expect me to protect them against the kind of fellow who asks a question like, which are the likeliest candidates? I mean, after all, a guy would ask a question like that.
I warned you. Just remember, I warned you.
Now, what could you possibly do to upset Paradise?
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. As a matter of fact, I hardly believe it myself. But when I think about it, I get chills up and down my spine.
Todd Stiles.
Come in, come in. May I order something for you?
Thanks.
You don't mind if I continue, do you?
Oh, fine.
Tell me, young man, what's on your obviously troubled mind?
This afternoon, I went down to Parlor 9.
Huh?
I wanted to see if you had everything you needed. The door was opened, and I started in. I overheard the debate, Mr. Karloff on one side and you on the other.
Well, Boris is a very stubborn man, and we've got to get this settled and quickly.
Yeah, you can. I work with you behind the scenes. You can set this whole hotel on its ear.
I know that, but we have to remain incognito.
Nobody will know except me. Now, why not run a series of test scares on selected subjects? We've got a perfect group right here in the hotel. 40 secretaries, a real cross-section. And if the old monsters are still tried and true, if they still work, you'll prove your point to Mr. Karloff, right?
That's brilliant. It's brilliant, young man. Why didn't I think of that? And how come you thought of it?
Well, nobody's all good, you know?
No, that's true. There's no such thing.
Equal pay for equal work. Now, that's what we've got to put across this year. Why do you know that right here in Chicago, a laundry clerk, if he's a man, gets $1.58 an hour, but only $1.17 if it's a woman. And in Denver, a male bank teller gets $91 for a 40-hour week, but a woman gets only $63 for the same work.
Every time I walk into his office, I feel as if I'm crossing a minefield.
Lucky you, I'd rather be yelled at than chased around the obstacle course.
Now, Nona, you don't really expect us to believe that, do you?
I'm sorry, my dear. Perhaps Lon and Peter are right. Maybe the very sight of us is enough to...
It's not you, Mr. Karloff. You are Boris Karloff. Every person born into this world is somebody new. Somebody that's never been here before. And will never be here again. It's our duty, isn't it, to know that? To know that there's never been anyone like her before in the whole wide world. Because if there had been, then why would she be here? And who would need her?
What's his name, my dear? The man you're in love with.
Can you tell me, Mr. Karloff? Is there anything more pathetic than a young, full-grown girl of 25 who isn't loved in return?
Case 1. Instant paralysis, total loss of speech. Cases 2 to 6. Spontaneous collapse. I like that.
I'm going down to the kitchen. You better go back to your room.
These 3 passed out just from looking at me. I think I resent that.
Oh, I wish my grandson Lon was here to see this sight. You know, he was starting to not believe in me no more. But if he saw this sight, he'd have a wonderful time.
Now beat it before somebody comes along.
Oh, yeah.
This is room 1114. Would you send up a carafe of coffee? Just 1 cup. Thank you.
Mr. Lorre, this is Todd. 1114 just called. Now, she's one of their group. I'll leave the coffee just outside the kitchen. Tell Mr. Chaney to use the back halls. The place is in an uproar. Mr. Pavis just called a meeting of all the department heads.
Please bring it in. I just think it's horrible that they make you carry such heavy things. You look exhausted. Come on. Would you like cream or sugar?
26 years on the cops. This is my first ape man.
Lieutenant, please. Please don't use that phrase. It's the kind of catchy thing they make headlines out of.
The boys and I interviewed 49 separate victims. Wouldn't you know, we got 49 separate descriptions? Here's one that'll kill you. One of those secretaries said he was, get this, a wolf man. I tell you, some of those crooky dames.
Maybe it was a gorilla. Well, there's a circus not 5 miles from here. Perhaps the gorilla escaped.
Did you ever see a gorilla wearing a sports shirt and slacks?
I trust everybody had a pleasant dinner? Well, in that case, we'll pick up exactly where we left off this afternoon.
Is there any point in our continuing our discussions in such lugubrious conditions? Peter.
Yes?
I detest the smell of burning wax. Please turn on the lights and stop these amateur theatrics.
You see? You see what I mean? Boris is holding out for one thing, and Lon and I, we are holding out for another. Now, deep down in my heart, I know what's best for pictures. We might be less cerebral than he is, but we have more emotion. We have more emotion. And what I want is experience, enough theory. I knew you would object to the candles, and this is why I lit them. I lit them deliberately, because you see now, if I snuffed them out, I knew the room would be black, and I knew someone would say,
Peter, turn on the lights.
I knew someone would say, Peter, turn on the lights. Now, during the darkness, Lon has placed a group of pictures in front of you. I took them earlier this evening. I want you to look at them with great interest, because the secret of drama is to make the expected become the unexpected.
These appear to be corpses, but the settings seem vaguely familiar.
And I saw this girl in the lobby only 10 minutes ago.
Well, they're not corpses. He took one look at Lon in his makeup, just one look, and they fainted dead away. 100% effective.
Not quite, Peter. Remember, there was that one girl in 1114.
Idiot. Well, the exception proves the rule.
What girl? What exception?
Gentlemen, I still have not had the chance to outline the corporate structure. Now, the laws of Liechtenstein...
You listen to me. Let's take a look at all the facts about those girls that I've been frightening. There was this one girl.
Even Liechtenstein, gentlemen, may be impatient enough to change its laws if we do not come to some agreement. Old monsters, new monsters. What's the difference?
Now, you listen to me. There was this one girl. I was actually alone with her in a room. Alone. And I was growling, Boris. You know how I can growl. Well, she treated me like a charity case. She was sorry for me.
Room 1114, you say? But I know that girl. I met her tonight. I walked her back to her room. No wonder you couldn't frighten her. She's completely preoccupied, utterly absorbed in an emotion as primitive as your pattern of terror. She's in love. That reminds me. Long distance? Ring Charles Stevenson in Indianapolis. The Stevenson Ultrasonics Corporation. Charge it to room 17 and say that Boris Karloff is calling. Yes, my dear, yes. This is Boris Karloff.
What on earth is this? I come with documentary evidence and he calls Indianapolis.
Stevenson. This is Karloff speaking. Yes, yes, Boris Karloff. Mr. Stevenson, are you still there? Well, now, it's about this girl, Molly Cross. How big a fool are you, Stevenson? Don't you know how much she loves you? Oh, no, I'm calling quite independently. I'm quite sure if she knew I was calling you, she'd fly away forever. Not at all, Stevenson. My pleasure. Goodbye. Peter? Lon? You did an unscrupulous thing frightening these girls the way you did, but you've almost convinced me that maybe the old ways are the best after all, that a new wave in horror pictures, the adult horror, so to speak, might be the wrong technique. But we must be sure, using this girl, Molly Cross, as the ultimate test. If we can frighten her, gentlemen, a woman in love, we can frighten anybody and everybody.
This morning's seminar I call Our Enemy, the Boss. Now, a gal can waste a lot of time thinking her boss is a girl's best friend. Certainly we executive secretaries know this, but from time to time you're going to be called upon to break in new girls. Teach them this: to give the boss efficiency, performance, loyalty, but nothing of themselves, nothing of their personal selves. If they do, disillusion, even heartbreak can result. Molly, do you mind? For the last 5 conventions, I've tried to tell Molly Cross, open your eyes, stop spoiling the boss, stop letting him know how you feel. But no, not Molly. She brought him his slippers in the morning and his shoes at the end of the day. She ground his coffee for him, a special blend, mind you. She even preheated his cup. Why, geisha girls couldn't have measured up to her performance. She treated him with love and affection instead of professional detachment. And girls, I ask you to view the consequences. I ask you to look at poor Molly Cross.
Molly? Molly, would you step outside a minute? I want to talk to you.
Mr. Stevenson, you shouldn't have come all the way from Indianapolis.
Are you coming out or not?
I'm sorry, Mr. Stevenson.
Very well.
Mr. Stevenson, what are you doing?
Taking you to the Justice of the Peace. Molly, you're marrying me today.
Oh, but you're engaged.
I can always get another fiancé. I'll never get another secretary like you.
Please, Mr. Stevenson.
Not only have you spoiled me, but I love you.
What?
I love you.
That proves it. Ghosts are the best after all. And the power of all three of us in one picture. Can you imagine it? Why, it's almost too ghastly to contemplate.
Molly. Molly. Molly, darling, you look as though you'd seen a ghost.
I didn't see anything but you, Mr. Stevenson. I never have. It's the first time you've kissed me. I guess it went to my head.
Hey, wait a minute. Collins is after you. I gotta find a place to hide you. Come on. Come on.
Toss, the young man who is responsible for the whole thing. Meet Mr. Karloff.
How you do?
Mr. Chaney.
How do you do?
I see it, but I don't believe it.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to serve you. Now, if you'll just relax a minute, Mr. Murdoch, my assistant, and I will go out and divert the chase. Oh, I suggest you get out of those outfits as soon as possible. By the way, good luck on your new venture.
Thank you.
No hard feelings? When you warned me, you weren't just kidding, were you?
Fresh start?
Yeah, all right. We'll split the secretaries right down the middle. 19 for you and 20 for me.
Wait a minute. That makes 39. Now, we're 40 secretaries. What happened to the other one?
Well, there's one of them, Todd, we can both forget. Molly Cross. Fairest to them all.
That way, Lieutenant!
This is Martin Milner. Now George Maharis takes you on a preview of our next Route 66.
It all started out so happily. Todd and Emily and I went to the station to meet the maid of honor. She didn't show up, but a killer did.
I want to explain my logic to you. I can't drive. I need a driver. That's you. In case you think it's worth the risk to try to jump me, I won't shoot you necessarily. I'll shoot whatever target there is. That means man, woman, or child. Is that the man you're going to marry? He makes you smile. Suppose I told you he was going to die.
Look for us in Cleveland, Ohio on the next episode of Route 66 and Welcome to the Wedding. Starring will be Rod Steiger in one of his most brilliant performances.
Screen Gems film presentation, Herbert B. Leonard, executive producer.